So, in the Bible, we know that obviously the whole original sin theory falls on the back of women. We were the ones that tempted Adam and were the reason for the fall of mankind. And generally, in Christianity, women are not to be trusted or placed in positions of any type of authority. Women are also, in the Quran, seen as equal in the eyes of Allah. There are no mediators. A woman is guided by Allah, not her husband.
Ini adalah Kylie yang terlahir sebagai Kristen. Kylie juga seorang Evangelis yang taat. Namun seiring waktu dia memutuskan menjadi agnostik. Sekarang Kylie mencoba mempelajari Islam karena dia melihat video tentang Muslim yang muncul di beranda handphonenya. Saat membaca Al-Quran, Kylie menemukan begitu banyak nabi yang disebutkan Al-Quran, seperti Ibrahim, Musa, Nuh, dan Muhammad. Yesus juga dihormati sebagai nabi, tapi bukan sebagai anak Tuhan.
I live in the United States and I was raised as a conservative Christian person. I've been learning about Islam, and so I'm going to share with you some interesting, shocking things that I've learned. I'm going to read some stuff from this page, but what is at the top right here, it says, "There shall be no compulsion in religion," the Quran 2:256. And there's another verse, 569, which states,
yang artinya, tidak ada paksaan dalam menganut agama Islam. Sesungguhnya telah jelas perbedaan antara jalan yang benar dengan jalan yang sesat. Barang siapa ingkar kepada tagut dan beriman kepada Allah, maka sungguh dia telah berpegang teguh pada tali yang sangat kuat yang tidak akan putus. Allah Maha Mendengar, Maha Mengetahui. Sesungguhnya orang-orang yang beriman, orang-orang Yahudi, Sabi'in, dan orang-orang Nasrani, barang siapa beriman kepada Allah, kepada hari kemudian, dan berbuat kebajikan, maka tidak ada rasa khawatir padanya, dan mereka tidak bersedih hati.
Which states that anyone who believes in God, Jewish, Christians, Muslims, and they do good, that there's nothing for them to fear and they will not grieve. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam have a lot in common. And I cannot speak for Jews, because I'm not a Jew, I don't know. But I know that Christians don't see it that way at all, at least where I'm from and all the Christians that I know. You have people within Christianity that if you don't believe the exact same things that they do, then they think that you're not saved or you're going to hell or you're possessed by demons. It's very dogmatic and very exclusive. While Islam does not accept the Christian Bible in its entirety as a divinely revealed scripture, certain key parts of it are revered. These are the first 5 books of the Old Testament, the Psalms of David, and the Gospels. Many of the patriarchs of the Old Testament, such as Noah, Abraham, Job, and Moses, appear in the Quran, where they are lauded as prophets and messengers. Jesus, too, is revered as a prophet, but not as the Son of God, an idea the Quran rejects. Which I want to note that Muslims also do not see Muhammad as the Son of God. They see Muhammad as a prophet as well. The general perception among Muslims is that the scriptures revealed to the Jews and Christians have somehow been corrupted, hence the need for an incorruptible and final revelation, namely the Quran. While there are clear doctrinal and theological differences between Islam and Christianity, as far as the stories of Jesus and the Old Testament patriarchs are concerned, the Quran is full of references and allusions to the Christian texts. This suggests that its original readers were, like Muhammad himself, very familiar with the Bible. The Quran was really a continuation of the conversation that was already going on.
Kylie juga menyadari bahwa di dalam Bible terdapat dosa asal. Seluruh teori dosa asal menimpa wanita, karena wanita yang menggoda Adam dan menjadi alasan jatuhnya umat manusia ke bumi. Sedangkan dalam Islam, Kylie melihat sebaliknya, bahwa dalam Islam, semua orang yang terlahir disebut fitrah atau suci.
There's something so fundamental and critical whenever you are comparing Christianity with Islam. And people miss it all the time because as Westerners, what a lot of us do is we look at the surface level manifestations of a culture and say, this one is this way and this one is that way, without actually understanding the substrate of either one. So in the Bible, we know that obviously the whole original sin theory falls on the back of women. We were the ones that tempted Adam and were the reason for the fall of mankind. And generally in Christianity, women are not to be trusted or placed in positions of any type of authority. We are also seen as less spiritually capable, and we need a mediator, which is typically our husbands. There are also several verses in the Bible stating that women need to remain silent and that it is shameful for them to speak in church, and that they should also just do as their husband orders, even if their husband is failing in their relationship with God. Now, a huge contrast to the original sin theory in Islam is that they don't believe in original sin. They believe in something called the fitra, which is the innate part of every human being. It is the pure, perfect reflection of God within a person. It cannot be damaged or altered through sin. It is always pure and holy. Women are also, in the Quran, seen as equal in the eyes of Allah. There are no mediators. A woman is guided by Allah, not her husband. But that does not exclude that there is an expected leadership by the man or the husband in the house.
Sebagai seorang mantan Kristen, Kylie tentu paham dengan doktrin agamanya yang banyak kejanggalan. Seperti dalam prinsip Kristenan, percaya bahwa Yesus adalah Tuhan dalam bentuk manusia. Dan itu jelas tidak masuk akal baginya, karena itu seperti membatasi Tuhan.
Let's talk about the Trinity, because obviously that's like the biggest tenet of Christianity, is to believe that Jesus was God in human form and that he was a blood sacrifice, really, because of God's wrath towards humankind. Now, this is not a response to you, by the way. This is just a conversation starter. But I could not imagine a God that is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent would need to sacrifice himself or his son, both, I guess, because humans had so much power that they ruined all of creation. And that is why in the other Abrahamic monotheistic religions, they don't subscribe to that, because that's limiting. Like, you're limiting God. You're putting God in a box. You're saying, well, God was perfectly depicted in human form through Jesus, and that's just not possible. Our human brains so badly want to know God in such a human way of relating to him. Like in Islam, they see Jesus as being a prophet, just like Muhammad was, just like Moses, just like Abraham, and that all the prophets are going to come back. I think that's what they believe. But my point is that nothing that humans do, whether it's good or bad, can take away or add to God's love and mercy and power. So obviously I don't subscribe to the original sin idea either, because I think it's very silly. And that's kind of a big thing of Christianity, is that we're born of a sinful nature. We can't possibly self-purify because it's not possible as a human being. And there's actually a book called The Biggest Lie Ever Told in the History of Christianity or something. And that was the biggest lie, is that holiness is not possible. And it's interesting because you can so blatantly see the difference in especially Western Christianity versus other religions, especially like Judaism and Islam, that are both Abrahamic religions that do believe you can self-purify, and so they practice that and their culture revolves around that.
Kami mendoakan semoga Kylie diberi hidayah oleh Allah